Hey, what's up, everyone? So recently I've heard a lot of intersectional vegans say that the founders of the Vegan Society were intersectional and that their intention of veganism as a philosophy was intersectional by nature. So what I thought I would do, rather than just sort of let this debate sort of linger, is actually I found a time machine recently, and so to step back in time to actually speak with Donald Watson. And I thought I'd take my fellow vegan Nikita here, who's an intersectional vegan, with me to settle this matter once and for all. So let's go back in time and actually speak to Donald Watson about this. Hi both, I'm Donald Watson, founder of the Vegan Society. I believe one of you wanted to ask me something. Hello Donald, yeah, my fellow vegan Nikita and I are trying to settle something. I'll leave you with her so she can ask you a few questions.
Yes, my question is, did you intend for veganism to be intersectional?
To be what?
Did you or did you not intend for veganism to be a movement for human rights as much as a movement for non-human animal rights? My point is that you did.
Well, I believe what you're referring to here is when myself and other members of the Vegan Society said that veganism would greatly benefit
mankind? Imagine my shock to hear a cis white male use patriarchal language, not only upholding the structural sexism that's rampant throughout our society, but reinforcing the gender binary in the process.
What, white male?
A cis white male.
I'm not sure what that is. Could you explain? As for those other things you mentioned, I'm not really sure what's meant by those either. Could you elaborate on that also?
As a woman of color, it's not my job to educate you. Many marginalized folk don't have the free time nor the mental energy to educate cishet white persons such as yourself, who hold all the cards in society. If you want me to educate you, I'll send you the link for my Cash App and my Venmo. Otherwise, Google is free.
I'm not sure I've heard of any of those or know what they are. Would it really be too much trouble for you to just explain?
As I said, if you want black and brown indigenous people of color to educate you, then pay up. But then again, I wouldn't expect a white savior such as yourself, who has centered himself in the movement after appropriating a way of life that has been practiced by indigenous folk for thousands of years and giving it a word, vegan, like it's something you invented, to actually give back to the black and brown indigenous communities whom you have robbed so much from through centuries of colonization, turning the modern vegan movement into a white male-dominated capitalist system that further marginalizes people of color.
I never said I invented veganism. I simply just set up the Vegan Society in the UK and coined the term. As for colonialism, I don't support colonialism, or any kind of oppression and violence for that matter. I'm actually a pacifist. I was even a conscientious objector in World War II.
How convenient that a fascist would conscientiously object to fighting a war against fascism. Your rampant and unwavering white supremacy and anti-Semitism is showing.
I'm not any of those things. I really don't understand all this hatred and anger. All I asked is that you could explain what cis meant, so I could...
If a person of color calls you a fascist or a white supremacist, it probably means that you are one. It's not your place as a cis white male to question marginalized groups when they call you out on your bullshit. Rather than get defensive, listen to the voices of POC, educate yourself, and unlearn your white supremacy. I recommend the book White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo for further reading. If you don't have a library near you, you can download it on Audible.
I've never heard of that book. And what on earth is Audible? Look, this conversation appears to be going nowhere. Perhaps we should...
Your hegemonic intentions throughout this conversation have been abundantly clear. It's truly upsetting and disturbing to see such rampant kyriarchy rear its ugly head in a conversation between a woman of color and a cis white.
Stop saying that! I don't know what any of these words mean. I just...
Talking over a POC! What a surprise! Maybe you should start listening with your white ears, reflect, and change your behavior. Now, shut up for just one moment and listen to my question. Did you or did you not intend for veganism to be intersectional in theory? Yes or no?
Sure, yes, whatever. Look, I'm going now. I'm sorry if I offended you in any way. All I was trying to do was...
I don't need your sorries, your white tears, or your performative allyship. Take this conversation as a learning experience. Listen, learn, reflect, and do better to recognize your privilege. At least you acknowledge that veganism is inherently intersectional, and that this was your intention when setting up the Vegan Society, and appropriating veganism from marginalized folk all around the globe. I will now use this to disprove problematic vegans such as George Martin, a cis-white male who's taking up space in our movement, and who insists on criticizing intersectionality, in turn allowing a culture of misogyny, white supremacy, and rape culture to manifest in vegan spaces, creating an unsafe space for women, trans folk, and people of color. Now, time to hop back into the time machine into the present day with this fascist bigot, where I can prove him wrong and call him out in front of the vegan movement once and for all. Any last words to say, Morge?
Yes, thank you for taking the time to educate me, Nikita. Alas, I shall fall on my sword. Donald Watson and the other founders of the Vegan Society were clearly intersectional. I will now be deleting all of my content from the Carnism Debunked YouTube channel and replacing it with BLM and hashtag Free Palestine videos, as well as buying a copy of Me and White Supremacy by Layla Saad and carrying it around on me as my Bible. Have a blessed day.
Sorry I'm white! Sorry I'm male!